What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. What a Hulk smash morning it was here on Thursday. Back-to-back, just insane cards. That's 3 winning days in a row right from the get-go. We're going to the evening window, and it's still impossible for me not to be profitable for the day. For everybody in that premium Discord, for everybody who followed the video yesterday, the Cody Bellinger home run, getting a half unit on that puppy, plus 700, plus 560, depending on where you put the bet on. There were 2 spots to really go do that. But phenomenal win for everybody across the board, no matter what. We got 2 hits for Elly De La Cruz. Couldn't believe plus 240 on that at FanDuel when you graded that out based on the pitching matchup. Probably got a little lucky not to have to face Mackenzie Gore a second time with the rain delay. And hey, Cincinnati money line coming through. Got the under of Michael Lorenzen, another really good break. The under of 4.5 Ks. He only pitched 60 pitches. Great stuff across the board. Been running a little bit lucky with a couple of these spots, those Cubs 2 days ago. What an absolute smash that was in that 9th inning. But check out BetMGM if you want to jump in and get this premium betting card every single Sunday through Friday, including tomorrow when I'm going to be in Las Vegas. You're going to get yourself 2 months of it completely free just by trying out BetMGM's product. Also up to $1,000 in bonus bets back into your account. All you do, go to the link below. You got to click on that link down there. Should automatically put in the promo code and all that stuff, but click on that link down there. Get yourself over at BetMGM, only for 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'll talk about them a little bit later, but we have 15 games to get to. I need to get myself on the road sooner rather than later. Lady? It's weird. Anyway, I got a haircut too to whoever it was that said in the comment section below, hurt my feelings. Eric, you need a haircut. Eric, you need a haircut. I don't make fun of you at your job, lazy meanie. That's all I have for you. Producer Jacob, let's get to the picks. I'm kidding. I don't really care. Atlanta, Tampa Bay, ready to rock. Not worried about my haircut at all. Charlie Morton on the mound going up against Tyler Glasnow. And Tyler Glasnow has some of the best strikeout stuff in baseball. He's routinely been one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. But he's giving up so much hard contact. 478 expected slugging, 48.8% hard hit percentage on the season. And check this out, an 18.3% barrel percentage. Zoic Scoob, that's a little extreme. That's not really good, but I expect these numbers to start regressing towards the mean. He missed the beginning of the season. He's still working himself back into form, and unlike Luis Severino, who we've just kept attacking, that went well again today with the over of that game. I think there's hope for Glasnow here. This is a terrifying spot to try to figure out some of your form. Atlanta, a 118 WRC plus coming off a month in June where they had the most runs in baseball, hit the most home runs in baseball. They've been the best team in baseball since the beginning of that month, and I don't think there's a whole lot of debate about it. And on the other side, they do have Charlie Morton on the mound, who's been serviceable still, 36.7% hard hit percentage, and a respectable 26.1% K rate himself. But a 335 xWOBA against this Tampa Bay team, it's a little bit scary and dicey. Plus, they are the best team in baseball since the beginning of the season, a 123 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So it's kind of those meetings of juggernauts that we have right from the get-go. I could have led that off, the best NL and AL teams facing off against each other. But, it's just a lean for me. It's a really tough spot to try to pick a side. I could see both pitchers succeeding. I have this projected pretty close to the number. If I had to do anything, though, I would be taking an under on 8.5. It just gets a lean with it, rock with it. I do not rock with it, do not bet it, but do not get... I'm done talking about it. Next game. The Philadelphia Phillies teeing off against the Miami Marlins, or trying to. It's a really good pitcher's park. It is a really good pitcher from 2022 by all metrics and standards. Sandy Alcantara, been a little bit rough in 2023. We've talked about it a lot, and they've got their ace, the Phillies do. Zach Wheeler on the mound, 289 xWOBA, 353 expected slugging, 27% K rate. Everything across the board looks really, really good. But I do have some hope for Sandy Alcantara on the other side to start meeting that form. Are there a lot of lefties you should be worried about from the Philly side? Yeah, you should be. Hell, we just ended up targeting Tampa Bay pretty successfully, I may add, with this Phillies lineup with a bunch of lefties against some of those righties. So can't just say that I'm super insanely enthusiastic that I'm going to be betting an under in this one, but it grades out so well because there are at least signs that it's coming back. The fastball, it has not lost its velocity in any way, shape, or form. 97.4 miles per hour. Yes, is it 0.6? But in the last couple outings, he's routinely been hitting 98 on the gun. So I think the velocity's back. I think the stuff is starting to be there. I love the ballpark for him. He still has a 4.22 expected ERA, which isn't atrocious. But you compare that next to his 4.93 ERA, there's positive regression that could be in store for him here. Now, the books aren't exactly overlooking that fact. That's why this number's hung up at 7.5. But when you start considering the juice, when you start considering the game environment, when you consider there are still some dead parts of both of these lineups, and I'm paying only standard juice at DraftKings and Caesars right now on the under of 7.5, pretty straightforward play. I think it's a half unit, pretty straightforward to get our day started. Under 7.5, I like it. All right, this is by far the most difficult game for me to break down on this slate, and it's wild because it's Toronto versus Detroit. It should be a lot more straightforward than this. But we have a minus 148 Toronto team throwing their disgraced ace. Disgraced is a harsh word considering he didn't do anything wrong other than just be very large, out of shape, and come back into the bigs and pitch terribly. But Alek Manoah, 394 xWOBA, just a 17% K rate and a 15% walk rate. He got sent to rookie ball. We're talking to the Guantanamo Bay down there in Florida. He was hanging out, just pitching to nobodies, and was getting lit up in rookie ball. But he came off of a really good start at AA where he at least recaptured some of the magic. I have no idea what to make of that start. It's one start. He has multiple terrible starts to begin off this season. Again, that's why he has these insane numbers that we're staring at. A 6.36 ERA, a 1.90 whip. I truly think the pitch clock has affected him. I think there are certain body builds, certain types of pitchers who maybe took their time once upon a time. They can't do it anymore. There is no more waiting around. You're kind of forced into scenarios where you might get a little bit tired throwing 20, 25 times. So you got to be paying close attention to things like that for certain pitchers. Again, Alek Manoah used to be very good. He is no longer very good. So we're looking on the other side of this one, my friends. Interesting spot with Alex Fado, 36% hard hit percentage, 279 xWOBA, 412 expected slugging, 25% K rate, only the 2% walk rate. But first start that we have for him in quite some time. Hasn't pitched since May 30th. That is a while ago. So I'm just really having a tough time of what to do. The over of 9, that is where I'm going to lean here in this one. But I have so much more analyzing to do. Maybe there's a pitch count on each of these guys. Again, Alek Manoah shouldn't be a pitch count. I have no idea what to expect. A lot of totals in this early window. A lot of totals. Not by design. Not something that I plan on. I'm just here trying to get the best bet at this current period in time, or the thing that I'm projecting out the number to be. Luckily, yes, we have numbers. We have things that we can look at. And it's definitely going to grade out for runs, my friends. We're looking on the Yankee side of this one with Carlos Rodon making his debut. He's looked good, but AA ball. They're starting just playing T-ball with him a little bit. Well, the opposite of he's going up against like 8th graders. That's kind of the way to look at it. But Carlos Rodon, he's had some filthy, ridiculous stuff. The Southpaw, 33.4% K rate last season. Going to be making his debut here with the Yankees. I bet they're excited to get him into this rotation. But I will say, I think he'll be on a pitch, on some kind of a pitch count. We're going to be paying close attention to what that is coming into this one. Sub 70 pitches in his last start there at the AA level. Not sure if that's going to mean that automatically takes place here, but don't expect 90, 95. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. Oh, and it's Jameson Taillon on the other side of this one in a small ballpark. I bet I want to target a little bit of power. And hey, the Yankees getting absolutely murdered right now. 13-0 against Baltimore. Hit the over of that one. That feels good. But I think we're looking for more of the same. I doubt the Yankees use any of their useful arms here today. Bet they have them all stockpiled. But still, going to thin down the bullpen a little bit, you would think. Thin it down a little bit here for the Cubs. That would be useful. And then the Cubs on the other side, yeah, putting Taillon out there against this Yankees lineup. It's not a very good Yankees lineup, but they gave Stanton the day off. Pretty watered down here on Thursday. Leading into Friday, you should get a better iteration of it. I think this one's just primed, loaded, locked for runs. Now, not locked, it's actually liked. That is mainly because of the prevailing number being 8.5, and the over is juiced a little bit extra. So you got to be paying attention to those kind of things as well. But yeah, I don't see any way around this. Over 8.5, autoplay. The Walker, Texas Rangers heading to Washington. God, these pitchers are just something else. Trevor Williams making another start at the big league level. I don't know why. 17% K rate, 489 expected slugging. I don't really find anything he does. Nearly 47% fastball usage, and it's just an awful pitch. Don't know what to make of it. But we have Cody Bradford. He's made a couple of starts here now, or at least made a couple of appearances here for these Texas Rangers. Interesting pitch mix. Interesting kind of, I don't know, it's basically fastball changeup. A lot of interesting stuff when you have fastball changeup, not really any kind of a major breaking pitch. I mean, a slider that he throws 14% of the time, curveball sitting at 2%. I would call that an interesting pitch mix for sure. I mean, there's some guys who just have filthy changeups. You know who they are. If you need me to tell you, I can eventually too. But four-seamer overall, it's had a little bit of success here, but those off-speed pitches, they are not doing a whole heck of a lot. The changeup is really the really positive plus pitch. I guess that's off-speed, so I take that back. 300 expected slugging there. But the slider and curveball, there's a reason he doesn't throw them. They are getting completely murdered at the big league level. He is a southpaw going up against a team that does have a little bit of righty power, a little bit in the Washington side on the other side, that can bring that to the table. They haven't been stone cold at the bottom like they've been multiple seasons. In fact, a 105 WRC plus and a 145 ISO, but I'm still going to have to just lean, because we don't have the numbers yet, on the Texas money line here because, well, it's Washington at home and this Texas team against Trevor Williams and third best WRC plus against right-handed pitching. Let's just take the Texas lineup if we're going to get any kind of value against this Washington squad. Kansas City heading to Cleveland. That's never a fun place to go, but maybe it's better than Kansas City. I like Kansas City. I take that back. Arrowhead, that's a cool spot. Aaron Savale here. Savale, sub 3 ERA, 1.18 whip. He's not that good, though. He's just not that good. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. You guys note that? I don't like that guy. It's a stupid YouTube video. But Daniel Lynch on the other side of this one, I thought about attacking him. Josh Bell was actually popping in my home run model, but I have three plays coming off of the Cody Bellinger bomb. I think that was kind of fun for everybody involved. We want to be running something like that back here, but Josh Bell, he was on the outside looking in, didn't want to put 4 home run plays on the board out of 15 games, especially without seeing the numbers. That's not doing you guys a whole lot of service, but get ready. The next 2 games, we're going homer, that's for sure. But over 8.5 is actually the lean in this one because Daniel Lynch continues to just limit hard contact, 33.1%. Still has 16% K rate, so he's not getting the swings and misses. Has a 453 expected slugging. Think we can target him, but with just a 7.5% barrel percentage for him, and Savale has a 4.4% barrel percentage, even though I'm projecting this out north of this 8.5 number, it's not that appealing of a spot. I'm much happier to just go flip coins doing something else and just not bet this game. If you want something there, though, this actually graded out okay, so whatever. Going against data, it's a bad idea. You want long balls, and long balls you shall have. We're not exactly sure what Boston's going to be doing in this situation. They did call up a guy named Brandon Walter. That was on the AAA report. AAA Worcester. That's good. 3.52 ERA, 1.17 whip here in 7 2/3 innings at the big league level thus far, but very limited sample size. There's really nothing to pull out of that, and I do think he can be stretched out. I mean, on the 22nd of June, he went 92 pitches against Minnesota in a loss, but then came back over a week and a half later, pitched on the 4th, so 3 days ago? Ended up pitching just 10 pitches in that one, but that could very well be looked at as something where he was just getting bullpen work. You know, you go in on that midday, get on the bump, and just kind of put in a little bit of the work. So he's a southpaw. Not sure if we're going to get any kind of an express pitch count or if he's going to be an opener for somebody else. But wanted to note that he did get called back from AAA Worcester. So that's who I'm expecting to be there. Projected out a couple of other arms to come out there for Boston. We all know kind of who they are. The Nick Pavettas, who ended up getting removed from their starting duties because they're just not all that good. Boston, a lot of poor, long relievers in the middle of that pen. Although Pavetta, I think, could be useful maybe as a 1 or 2 inning type reliever if they can kind of just transfer him to that over the course of the next year. It's a lot of money to probably pay for a starting pitcher turned bad. It's like paying a lot for oat milk. Why is oat milk so expensive? It's oats. We just want the milk version. I don't know if you guys got that analogy, but Luis Medina, Funky Cole Medina, baby, 44.2% hard hit percentage, 361 xWOBA with a 20.1% K percentage, 12.7 walk. Then I set him down to the Funky Cole Medina. Yeah, he's terrible. He's really awful at pitching, and therefore, I want these lefties. I want their power. I want the Infinity Stones, and you know who wears most of them for the Boston Red Sox? Rafael Devers. No kidding. You want a guy who hits bombs at a 52.6% hard hit percentage clip, 549 expected slugging, 381 xWOBA? I do. 13% launch angle. Can we launch one into that Boston night sky? Can we get a little bit of love out here in the Northeast? I'm waiting for those really hot and humid days there in Boston where this thing plays like a little league park. I'm looking forward to that. But as for right now, this is a great spot. Funky Cole Medina going to give up some bombs. Let's start with Devers. By the way, I want better than plus 350 on Rafael Devers. Wanted to throw that in as we go to another bomb. Baltimore Orioles, Minnesota Twins. I just want to give a shout out to my guy, Pablo Lopez. Love him for what he did the other night. It was just insane stuff. Absolutely insane stuff. But Bailey Ober, he's on the mound against Cole Irvin for Baltimore. And Cole Irvin, once upon a time with the Oakland Athletics, southpaw, just put him in that bucket of starting pitchers I'm not impressed with from Baltimore. 6.32 ERA, 1.7 whip across the board. Doesn't do anything well. That makes it tough to succeed in the bigs. Now, he gets a good matchup. I would still call this a good matchup against the Minnesota Twins, against lefties on the season, just an 86 WRC+, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are running into a diminished version of Byron Buxton on one side. Carlos Correa, not exactly a barn burner here over the course of this season, but we're still going to use a little bit of that righty power. I'll at least give you a sneak preview at Bailey Ober before I give you that play. He's limited hard contact, sub 33% hard hit percentage, gives up extreme fly ball contact, which, as long as it's not crazy hot and humid there in Minnesota, will be okay. 32.2% ground ball rate, 37.6% fly ball rate. Yeesh, that's getting up there a little bit, but at least it's soft contact. At least he doesn't walk guys, and at least he has a 25% K rate. 3.61 expected ERA. Yeah, our starting pitching's been carrying us all season long, but Byron Buxton was our MVP guy. He put himself in the conversation before getting hurt, it feels like the last 2 or 3 seasons, hitting just 215. But has that power, has that pop. And when you start facing guys who don't strike him out, which again, he strikes out a lot, you are going to run into the bat. And when you run into the bat of Byron Buxton, the ball's going to fly very, very far. 43.4% hard hit percentage, doesn't even encapsulate it. 438 expected slugging. Again, the 29.5% K rate. You take that off the board, and friends, we are in a really, really good spot with Byron Buxton to go yard. Want better than plus 325. That's going to be the break-even number. All right. I know some of you guys don't love your props. You don't want the props, but this is a very fascinating spot, and I'll at least explain out a play for everybody who can only bet the games and the totals, because I would be on the Milwaukee Brewers side of this one, even though we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Reds pitcher and backing him to do some good stuff. I know that sounds confusing, but sometimes one of the things is that it's really about the number and then also what the range of outcomes are based on a spot and based on what you find in the numbers. And I think Andrew Abbott, the starter for the Cincinnati Reds, was a fascinating deep dive for me this afternoon. He's going to be going up against Corbin Burnes, who we know is very good at pitching. There's really no disputing that here. I would want to be on the Corbin Burnes side. I know Cincinnati just won us some money here. We backed them on Thursday. Yeah, we went against them, Washington plus 1.5. The only thing that I got wrong on Wednesday, that's kind of sad. Could have just taken the chalk, followed the public into the dark sky. This is our Independence Day. It was actually July 5th, so that's a lie. It was July 5th. I did the math correctly. But Andrew Abbott, let's break this down because Corbin Burns, he's very, very good, and I would want to be backing him in this spot. He's been incredible. A 185 expected batting average, a 258 xWOBA, and a 29.4% K rate thus far in his big league career. It's just getting going, but that is just all of 6 starts that he's now had at the big league level. It has resulted in a 1.21 ERA, a .88 whip. But, and here comes the but, his xFIP is concerning to me. A 4.27 xFIP. This is basically a metric that is fielding independent, and it's the expected number of what happens if you have average fielding, if you don't have Elly De La Cruz playing a hot corner for you, just snapping balls from everywhere because he's an absolute physical specimen. It's basically a way of trying to value the pitcher and their performance, and eventually what happens when you have a higher xFIP than 4 is you're kind of an average big league pitcher. You're not the elite stuff that it would suggest his advanced metrics have. He also has a 42% hard hit percentage with a 26.5 degree average launch angle and a 9.1% walk rate. So there's so much good there in terms of what's happening to the actual contact when he's just in a ballpark that's conducive for it. Obviously, Cincinnati's one of the more homer-prone parks in all of baseball. And you know how many homers he's given up there on the season? Not all that many. 4 in 19 2/3. I would call that pretty successful if you're giving up less than 1 per outing in those kind of situations. And I mean, it's about that 3 games started, but he's pitched pretty deep into those. And those were the only 4 runs that he gave up, all solo shots in those home spots. Again, I went on a crazy Andrew Abbott deep dive because I want to be betting his K prop here. We have routinely seen him go crazy. At the AA level, he came out of the gate. They basically said, you got to get up to AAA immediately at the beginning of the season because he had 20.68 Ks per 9 over the course of those 3 seasons, which grades out to a 64.3% K rate. It went to 34.8% there in AAA level, where he had a couple of starts. And then at the big league level thus far, as I said before, 29.4%. He is a southpaw. You know, Milwaukee, we target with Ks, southpaws. They strike out at the highest clip, period, in baseball against lefties. Whew, that was a lot of work for a lean, but I'm telling you, this is a play that I could be nuking to 9 or 10 based on where this line opens. I'm very curious to see where the books open with this one. I want this in your back pockets, but also know that I would want to target him because I think he is due for actual regression when it comes to some of those hard hit numbers. Whew, I need to take a little bit of a break here. We'll let fake Eric up there on the screen just be enthusiastic and happy and take the... let me just stretch for a second. All right, here we are. BetMGM, my friends. Get 2 free months of OS Premium Discord when you go to the link in the video description box below. We got producer Jacob. He's going to click that in the comment section for you too. You can just take advantage of it here. And I really don't care if you sign up at BetMGM or not when it comes to jumping into my premium Discord. 2 free months. I want you there because I think I can make you money. But there's so many great deals no matter what that are involved with all of these sports books. You're going to get up to $1,000 back in your first bet if it doesn't win. That is a huge bankroll booster to you if you take advantage of it now. And that's not it. The most important part about why you should be signed up at BetMGM is it gives you another book which is more access to the best line every single day. It's called Odd Shopper. I want you shopping for the best lines. And yes, do I want you hanging out in the premium Discord where we've been making money? We've been making it rain all of NBA season. We took a little bit of a break there, April and May, with the MLB streets as we got everything set up. But for the month and a half now, it has been straight fire. We are over 20 units coming off of a day yesterday that, I mean, it was over, I think, 8.5 units over the course of the premium Discord this morning when we're talking about a 0.5 unit play on a plus 700 Cody Bellinger home run, nearly 3.5 units from that play alone as the sole home run play. Elly De La Cruz plus 240 there. These are the kind of things that you get access to, the best numbers for the best plays. You put the two together and it is going to help your ROI more than anything I can give you in terms of plays on this program. That is why I want you signed up at BetMGM. More than anything else, take advantage of all the sportsbook offers, take advantage of the best line every single day, win more money. So sign up for that in the video description box below. And yes, then you can also have access to me for 2 months completely free. Only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks, y'all. Let's have ourselves a spot. The Seattle Mariners, the Houston Astros, Luis Castillo versus Hunter Brown. Yo pitching. Yeah, there's no shocker that this is a 7.5. Now, Luis Castillo gets pulled out of the best pitcher's ballpark in Seattle to Houston, which is pretty neutral. Plays short porch there for righties, but, Luis Castillo is a righty. There aren't many lefties that exist in this lineup. Kyle Tucker, pretty much the only noticeable one there on a day in, day out basis. Luis Castillo, though, a 224 expected batting average on the aggregate, a 27.9% K rate, and a 7% walk rate. Those are elite numbers. The 42.6% hard hit percentage can be a little bit worrisome from time to time, but it's almost identical to what we're looking at in terms of Hunter Brown on the other side. This was an elite target, somebody that I really, really liked coming out of AAA into this season. Knew he was going to be part of that rotation immediately. He's been awesome. 27.5% K rate, 303 xWOBA, 368 expected slugging. Those are all pretty well and dandy, but also hard contact, 44.5%. You got to get by Jared Kelenic. You got to get by the Rodriguez, Suarez, Hernandez righties. Number of those that can do a little bit of issues for you, but yet I'm still leaning with the pitching in this one. Really hard for me to envision offense unless these righties are able to pull the ball to the Crawford boxes and just put out some outlier performances with some short porch home runs. I'm seeing myself under 7.5, close to the card on the outside looking in, very, very close to a like. I hope they play forever into the midnight hours here in Chicago because I think that could be some extra value for us. And don't forget, starting pitchers, they always travel ahead of time, or in this case, they're just staying in Chicago because it's in Chicago. Dylan Cease on the mound against Jordan Montgomery of the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think this is a spot where we could run into Jordan Montgomery outperforming expectations based on the White Sox playing a doubleheader, one that went to 11 innings here in Game 1, and Game 2 that just got going like all of about 10 minutes ago. We're talking 9 p.m., 9:20 p.m. Eastern time. I guess they're Chicago Eastern time, or is it Central? It might be Central. Either way, it's late. It's later than normal out there playing 2 full games, mostly the A team in both sets of that White Sox lineup. So Jordan Montgomery, can he get down and get his eagle on, girl? That'd be great. 36.3% hard hit percentage, 6.3% walk rate, 22% K rate. And yes, Luis Robert, been one of the best lefty hitters in all of baseball over the course of the season, been absolutely bashing their faces in. Maybe we get him. Can somebody sit tomorrow? That would be incredible to get one of these righties between Andrew Vaughn, Eloy Jimenez, Jake Berger, 4 dudes with a lot of pop in that lineup. It would be extra special to see them sit. But even still, Jordan Montgomery, 36.3% hard hit percentage. That is dandy. Now, Dylan Cease is kind of the inverse of what we talked about with Montgomery. For one, he's right-handed. So look at me doing math or, physics or just reading in R on a sheet. A 27.4% K rate. So he gets those swings and misses. It's gotten better and better as the season's gone on. Primary four-seamer guy as opposed to Montgomery. He's primarily a sinker ball, change-up curve kind of guy. This is basically a 2-pitch pony in Dylan Cease. You got the four-seamer. You got the slider. The curve jumps in from time to time, but gives up a lot of hard contact and fly ball contact. 14.6 degree average launch angle on the course of this season, a 27.6% fly ball rate, just a 40.5% ground ball rate, and a 46.7% hard hit percentage. The inverse of that would be his barrel percentage is actually sub 8%, so better than most. Better than most. God, Tiger Woods, I miss him so much. Just throwing it out there for the people. Y'all are real ones if you know. But I am looking at St. Louis here. Minus 112, just outside of that standard minus 110 juice. I think we want to be backing this one a little bit blindly because I like the Cardinals lineup, despite everything that we've seen. I think Jordan Montgomery probably, it's wild to say, the best of their starters so far this season. Miles Michaelis, no. Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery might be the guy to back here against a White Sox team that, yes, they do definitely have some guys with some pop there in that lineup. They're starting to hit a lot better, especially with Robert just been on a tear for a month and a half. But I think this is a time to try to get a nice little depreciated number on a team that's just played a lot of baseball on Thursday. I was told Chicago Central Time. Well, they don't give a shit in Arizona. They're going to be hosting Pittsburgh. Fun stuff on the horizon here with Zach Allen, my guy. Yeah, you heard me. He's been my guy forever. My guy. They're my guy. Sorry. Rich Hill, definitely not my guy. Southpaw, 49 years old or some shit. He's really old, guys. Can we get him a martini or a cold beer? Something that isn't pitching. It's funny because I actually tried to back him the other day and he won a game against San Diego. So whatever. I didn't try. I actually backed him and it went well. It's wild stuff. But also used him against Milwaukee. That didn't go as well, even though he pitched okay. 5 innings, 3 earned, 8 Ks in the mix of that. Again, we're just targeting Milwaukee's with lefties and even more so now. It's fun. But Zach Gallen, come on the other side of this one, he is so good. 305 xWOBA, 26.8% K rate. Why can't we get a line? Why can't we have nice things? And yeah, do I care? Corbin Carroll left on left? No, I do not care. We just back him. The gloriousness that is him. It's Pittsburgh team. We'll see how they end up faring against the Dodgers this evening here. That game is not yet hit first pitch. I almost said tip off. I miss you, NBA. I miss you a lot. Might have broken down the Pacers roster with producer Jacob for like half an hour before this video and killed a lot of time and a lot of brain cells trying to remember who plays where. But Isaiah Jackson, he's a dude. Your 12 stringers, love those. How about a lean on Arizona -1.5? That is an auto play. If this ends up inside of -110, it will be on the card. Lean with it, lock with it. Oh, it worked well yesterday. It's worked well the last 2 days. Maybe that needs to be the new catchphrase of Lindy's leans, likes, and locks if it's going to keep hitting. Lean with it, lock with it, lean with it, lock with it. Maybe not like that, though. That was pathetic. We've got the Mets, we've got San Diego, and 2 massive pitcher names on the mound in Justin Verlander and Yu Darvish. Now, Yu Darvish, there are a lot of things that I'm going to save for Lindy's Locks update to break down for you, but across baseball savant, bright red, 299 xWOBA, 233 expected batting average, 25.8% K rate. Everything looks good. Everything's pretty nifty. Now, Justin Verlander, still limiting the walk, 6.1%, 298 xWOBA, but far from that Cy Young form we saw from a year ago. Friends, a 20.8% K rate and a 45.8% hard hit percentage. That's not fun. You got a lot of dudes that you have to deal with in Tatis and Soto. I even think Trent Grisham's being a little bit underappreciated this season for what he's been doing in terms of analytics. A 341 xWOBA, a 441 expected slugging. Those are nifty numbers. 13.1% walk rate to boot. Nice to be able to turn the lineup order over to Tatis and Soto with Trent Grisham batting at the back half of this. Even Gary Sanchez, 46.2% hard hit percentage. Verlander is still limiting some of those righties to a certain extent, but I will be breaking all of that down for you because I think there are fascinating 2s and 4s for each one of these teams. But for me, this comes down to the number. 7.5 is your total in this one. I would argue that this should have opened at 8, 8.5 pretty easily with both of these lineups. Now, the Padres at full strength, a lot easier to make a case for considering the righty prowess that they're, the lefties and righties that they have in Soto, Tatis, Manny Machado, who's been on a tear since he got back off the IL. I don't know if you noticed. That's kind of an underappreciated thing. But a 99 WRC plus despite getting nothing out of Matt Carpenter, getting nothing out of Jake Cronenworth, getting nothing out of Hai-Sung Kim, even though he's been batting leadoff for God knows what reason. 11.8% walk rate. Maybe they look at that and just say, hey, we need more of that. Brandon Dixon, the Mason-Dixie line. No, it's been bad. Everything's been bad. But overall, I expect positive regression for a lot of parts of that offense and for this team in general. And how do we not say the same thing about the Mets? This Mets lineup is good. Tommy Pham, Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, Brett Beatty, Daniel Vogelbach, all north of a 46% hard hit percentage. We're talking Pham with a 549 expected slugging. I feel like he makes my home run board almost every single day that he's in the lineup, and he's in the lineup almost all the time. He's gotten moved up to second in this lineup routinely. It's kind of killed a little bit of that value off the top, but is what it is. Pete Alonso, 557 expected slugging. I didn't even put him in that category of the hard hit guys, and we know he's the main hard hit machine out of all of them, but just a 40.5% hard hit percentage on the season. What I'm getting at is Starling Marte, Francisco Alvarez. This is a good lineup. They've just underperformed. And the Padres, a good lineup. They've just underperformed. Justin Verlander, he's much older. He is at New York City with Kate Upton. You tell me how you would handle New York City with Kate Upton. Probably not well. I'd want to go to dinners and be relaxed too and retire. A legend. You're a legend, Justin Verlander. Let's target an over here on 7.5. Can't believe I'm saying it considering the quality of the pitchers and the name recognition here, but I think it is a smash, and I will point out the Yu Darvish thing tomorrow. That is for sure. I want to save that little nugget because I want you checking out Lindy's Locks update so that you can get your process refined so that I don't have to tell you all the things, especially on Saturdays when I'm not available and off the grid. But you need to be finding this information out for yourself. I will teach you what I know. We head to Angels and Dodgers, and I want to repeat, I don't know everything. And I think part of what makes me a good MLB betting analyst is that I am happy to inherit new information, to be able to take new information and roll with it, apply it, see what could be very loud, see what could not be. And a lot of that is just data-driven performance, market-based approach with OddsShopper, stochastic projections, combining the two and finding a perfect marriage. Now, we did get a number that dropped here on this one. As you can see, we got a 9 total. Pretty close spread, I would say, considering the Angels and their current iteration of a lineup. But could this be the Shohei Ohtani audition? Not that you need to audition him, but I bet he gets a standing O every time he comes up to the plate for the Dodgers or for the Angels, because the Dodgers, they want him for a loan rental. Now, it doesn't mean that he's going to guaranteed to be there for the rest of the year, but this is an Angels opportunity. They need to unload Ohtani at the deadline. And here is my reasoning. 1, you keep him in LA. You keep him close. 2, you're going to get a lot of prospects, possibly for free, because no matter what, you're going into this postseason, you're going into the after the season with the opportunity to re-sign him or not. It doesn't change your outlook for Ohtani, and keeping him in the city keeps him as close to you as possible, as opposed to sending him to Seattle, to San Francisco, to some of these other teams that have rumored to have interest. Let me tell you one thing. Every team in baseball has interest. It's just a question of whether it makes sense for the Angels to send them there. There you go. There's my conspiracy hat, Eric Lindquist tinfoil hat for the day. There is no way Shohei Ohtani is not a Los Angeles Dodger at the deadline. I apologize to the Giants fans who watch this program. I know you're going to be really pissed off. Arizona Diamondbacks would make sense too. Maybe not feeling too scared. They might not be feeling too scared about it. But I'm basically just kind of talking here in circles because I'm looking at a lean here in this spot. But it's going to be a play because it's a player that I'm obsessed with. But let's talk the pitching. I should do that. It's just fun to do that for a second. Griffin Canning here on one side for the Angels. Tony Gonsolin, who's coming off of 3 really poor outings. Shohei Ohtani, I bet he's probably pretty probable to hit a home run, huh? We're talking 4 and 7 earned runs for Gonsolin in the last 3. Gave up 2 homers against Houston. Kansas City still just didn't have it. He's been pitching fewer and fewer and had some issues in terms of getting strikeouts. He's never been a great strikeout pitcher overall, but still a 1.12 whip, a downtrodden, no Mike Trout lineup here for the Angels. That's always kind of a plus for you. But for this one, Griffin Canning, there's not a whole lot to be said. It's a very difficult spot. I don't really want to be putting anything on this one at minus 170. I think this is actually a pretty competitive spot because Ohtani exists. But I want to talk about Joe Adell because Joe Adell is a player that I'm obsessed with. He went to AAA, just raked, just went nuts, hit a couple of 500-foot bombs. Yeah, you heard me. 5-0-0 at the AAA level this season. Again, PCL, that'll happen. It just is what it is. But Joe Adell has routinely had strikeout problems when he gets called up to the majors. They have no choice but to send him back. But maybe this is the time where it sticks, especially with the rule change. He has that speed upside too. I thought about what a single game parlay would look like with a Joe Adell stolen base plus home run. And let me tell you, it looks fancy. It looks kind of nice. He'll be batting cleanup for the Angels here in this spot. And I think I want to get myself some Joe Adell better than plus 450, which it absolutely will be. I think he was like plus 700 in San Diego the other night. Plus 450 to hit a homer, even against a righty here in Tony Gonsolin. He has power for days. If you've never heard of him, get familiar. And our last game on the board, we're going out with NAs. It's really, really sad. Sucks. I wish I could give you more information. Please don't skip ahead. You know what? Actually, I don't want to talk about this game either. Got Ross Stripling on one side of it. No announced starter here for the Rockies. I think I know who it's going to be. Do you know what it's going to be? You want to take a guess? 1, 2, 3. Austin Gomber. See? That's not fun. 6.64 ERA, 1.56 whip. He is not good at the throwing of the baseballs. He's left-handed. You're going to get Austin Slater and all those other garbage righties in this lineup for San Francisco. Then you're going to get him pinch hit for with Jock Peterson and those other guys. It makes it really unappealing from a batting prop perspective. Maybe take some unders. That's always been a fun routine thing. But now the books have been inflating the numbers, and it really sucks. You always have to go through the bullpens in lots of depth because, they'll just pinch hit otherwise. This is just a gross, grotesque, awful spot to end our day. So let's get out of here, shall we? Happy weekend. Colorado plus 1.5, my lean here. Hey, Chris Bryant, go audition for your second stint in San Francisco. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on the board for Friday's slate. I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm excited to give you Lindy's Locks update from that beautiful, beautiful city. It's going to be great stuff. Going to be out there for UFC 290. I'm going to watch some fights up close. Hopefully see Volkanovski and Rodriguez have an absolute banger. There's some banger fights on that card. Very much looking forward to it. I don't always talk MMA in these streets because it's still something that I'm refining myself. Don't throw those plays out in the premium Discord, but I throw all my MLB stuff and I'm pretty good at that. So BetMGM, get yourself 2 months of that, of OddsShopper Discord access of myself, Eitan Shander, Ben Raza, all the analysts you know and love here on the OddsShopper channel at your disposal every single day, except for me on Saturdays. Peace out. Alrighty, y'all. I'll be back next week for the All-Star Game. Yes, we're going to bring you an All-Star Game edition. Be on the lookout for that Monday night, but otherwise, it's the All-Star break. You're going to have Eitan on Saturday, Sunday, and then I will be back next Friday for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets this weekend.